Selena Gomez's prime is often tied to her 2015 revival era, a time that marked an explosive shift in her career. She released chart-dominating singles like Good For You and Hands to Myself, stepping out with a confident, grown-up image that made headlines and set new trends. Her red carpet appearances became iconic. Her social media was filled with striking selfies, and suddenly, Selena was seen as much more than her Disney Channel past. She'd become a true A-lister. But to really understand why this period stands out to so many people, you have to look at what came before and what followed, both publicly and behind the scenes, including whether Selena herself looks back at that era longingly or feels content with where she is now. Before Revival, Selena Gomez's career was still heavily defined by her Disney roots. As the lead in Wizards of Waverly Place, she was loved by a young audience. But when it came to music, critics and fans often saw her as trailing behind other pop stars like Miley Cyrus, Demi Lovato, or even newer faces. Her early albums with Selena Gomez and The Scene were packed with catchy songs, but many thought the vocals and creativity weren't strong enough for her to be taken seriously as a pop act. Her image was tied to teen stardom, and people questioned if she could ever grow beyond that. The transformation didn't come until Revival, where Selena finally moved past the child star label and showed a vision that was all her own. The Disney era, from 2007 to 2010, was filled with innocence and nostalgia, with Selena starring in her own show as a teenager and living out the ultimate dream, traveling, attending red carpets, hanging out with other teen idols, all with her castmates who became like family. At the time, her friendship with Demi Lovato was still intact, and Justin Bieber's presence was more of a sweet subplot than a headline-grabbing saga. She was a central Disney figure, enjoying the ride, almost like she was romanticizing her own life before that became a trend on social media. While other Disney alumni like Miley and Demi would later speak out about the less glamorous sides of their experiences, Selena seemed to genuinely value her time there, cherishing the youth and excitement of being on the brink of something big. Yet, in Hollywood, being cute only takes you so far. She was often compared to Miley and Demi, who had stronger personalities and vocal performances that made them stand out. Selena's early solo singles, like Tell Me Something I Don't Know in 2008, were criticized for weak vocals and heavy production. Her band era, with The Scene, from 2009 to 2011, produced 3 albums, Kiss and Tell, A Year Without Rain, and When the Sun Goes Down. Despite the branding, Selena was always the focus, and critics said the music lacked depth and personal touch. The attempt to market When the Sun Goes Down as her love album tied to Justin Bieber only started the trend of her personal and professional life becoming intertwined in the public eye. From 2011 onward, Selena's career, and especially her music, seemed inseparable from the narrative of Yelena. Even when she tried to break away, it was a struggle. She once questioned when she'd ever be considered enough on her own without needing her relationship for relevance. If you want a full timeline of their relationship, let us know. Subscribe if you're interested in that breakdown. Selena took a shot at going solo with her Stars Dance era in 2013, a pivotal moment for her. She was out of Disney, no longer with her band, and newly single. But insecurity ran high. She worried about competition, chart performance, and her own vocal abilities. Her singles still struggled to crack the top 20, and the pressure seemed constant. She even promoted Stars Dance as potentially her last album, saying she'd focus on acting afterwards. The era itself was a jumble. She wanted to be sultry and messy like Miley, but kept the good girl personality, making her seem both sexy and shy, never fully one or the other. The attempt at a Bollywood-inspired Come and Get It fell flat, with critics questioning her understanding and use of the culture. The performances and music video were heavy on Indian themes, but Selena later admitted she knew little about what she was channeling. The backlash led her to strip out all Bollywood elements on tour. The rest of Stars Dance was forgettable beyond a few club tracks, and her acting detours in Spring Breakers and other films couldn't shake her Disney image. Despite seeking out edgier roles, she was still seen as the girl next door, and her performances were considered mild compared to her castmates. Before entering her revival phase, Selena made 2 big moves. She fired her parents as managers for someone with more industry experience, and she fulfilled her Hollywood Records contract by dropping a greatest hits album, For You. including The Heart Wants What It Wants. This was the first time she earned real praise for vulnerability, as the song mirrored her turbulent personal life. Then came Revival. The goal was clear: elevate Selena to the top without making her career all about Justin. In the years leading up, her name was constantly tied to his. Even The Heart Wants What It Wants, though personal, was surrounded by Yelena drama. But with Revival, Selena and her team kept the relationship offstage as much as possible. There was only one public sighting of the two after she announced the album, and while she was still shading Justin, it was less messy than before. This new maturity and polish led fans to see her as more confident and independent, a woman who was now in control. Behind the scenes, though, Selena was dealing with major upheaval. In 2015, a paparazzi video of her prompted her to admit later that she was actually deeply depressed during that time, even as she appeared to be thriving. Her struggles included lupus, a dangerous drug addiction, and ongoing fallouts with friends and family. The Revival era is considered her peak in looks because, for the first time, her appearance matched a confident, self-directed identity. She took charge of her image, began speaking openly about wanting to feel empowered, and made vulnerability part of her brand. She got comfortable sharing more on social media and in interviews, but as she would later admit, she sometimes got stuck in a pattern of self-victimization, finding a strange comfort in being seen as someone who needed help. Her style underwent a major evolution. She worked with top stylists to create a chic, mature look, embracing slip dresses, smoky eyes, and bold minimalism. This new approach caught the attention of fashion magazines like Vogue and W Magazine, and she sat front row at major fashion weeks, earning respect from designers and outshining rivals like the Jenners, Kardashians, and Hadids. This fashion credibility fed into her brand. Much like Kim Kardashian's leap from reality TV to high fashion transformed her image. Selena's alignment with brands like Louis Vuitton and Givenchy gave her a glamorous edge her Disney peers lacked. Her fans used this to argue that she'd reached a level others hadn't, even if she wasn't breaking sales records like Michael Jackson or delivering powerhouse performances like Beyoncé. The Revival era's strength was in branding. Her music videos and performances matched the aesthetic perfectly. The Good For You video was sultry and understated, while Hands to Myself was sleek and seductive, featuring high production values and a compelling storyline. Her appearances at events like the Victoria's Secret fashion show put her on par with Taylor Swift and Ariana Grande, and it seemed like she was achieving things Miley and Demi couldn't. The comparisons between the three were endless, with social media always pitting them against each other. Miley might have had more success and Demi more raw talent, but Selena was praised for her ability to transform from cute Disney star to sophisticated icon without the extreme scandals. She didn't go as wild as Miley or overshare as much as Demi, balancing maturity and elegance, even if it wasn't always the whole truth. Behind the scenes, though, she was struggling. Demi even had to intervene multiple times in 2014 when Selena's drug issues got out of hand. These stories rarely made headlines, with celebrity teams quickly shutting them down. Everything in Hollywood comes down to branding, not honesty, which is why Revival is often remembered so fondly despite the turmoil underneath. Only a few, like Selena and certain media outlets, saw the cracks. The pressure to appear perfect came not just from the industry, but from fans who mocked other stars for showing vulnerability while Selena hid behind luxury deals. After Revival, everything changed. Selena spiraled into depression after she and Justin broke up for good, and he married Hailey Baldwin. This forced her to mourn not just her relationship, but all the nostalgia and dreams tied to her past. The question remains, does Selena miss her prime? Some say she's found a new peak with Rare Beauty, which massively increased her net worth and gave fans a new way to measure her success. Subscribe for more stories like this. Even as she's moved on, comparisons to her Revival years and the pressure to live up to them never really go away.